before the first snow fell. I came across a looking for someone post on social media. The title grabbed me instantly. To the girl from a university's physics department waiting to watch the first snow with her boyfriend, your boyfriend is cheating. I tapped in. It was an audio clip. The girl sounded like she was wearing a scarf. Her voice was slightly muffled. If you dare go spend the first snow with that nerdy girlfriend of yours, you can forget about ever seeing that new set of pajamas. The guy's voice was low and hoarse, half helpless, half affectionate. Fine. I'll stay with you, okay? The recording continued, but I had already frozen. The university and major matched mine exactly. And that male voice, it was so familiar it couldn't be mistaken. Looks like my boyfriend has been secretly seeing someone behind my back. Chapter 1. Hearing that voice, my mind went completely blank. My first instinct was denial. No way. It couldn't be. How could Henry possibly cheat? Our relationship had always been stable. We even promised to watch the first snowfall together every year. He once said, Margarita, couples who spend the first snow together will be happy forever. Make sure to wear the matching down jackets I bought you last time. I want to capture the most beautiful version of you in the snow. I don't even feel like sleeping tonight, I just want tomorrow to come sooner. As he said all that, Henry even sent me a photo of the train tickets he had already bought. He looked so excited to see me, to watch the snow together. But, could something really be such a coincidence? Both waiting to watch the first snow with a boyfriend, and I just so happened to be a third-year physics major at a university. Maybe those could be coincidences, but could I really mistake Henry's voice? The next second, a message from Henry shattered all my remaining hope. Margarita, I'm really sorry. Something urgent came up in the department. I really can't leave tomorrow. I'll make it up to you twice over in a couple of days, okay? Be good. Just 2 sentences, and I snapped out of my daze completely. There was no need to make excuses to fool myself anymore. The guy in that post was Henry. Chapter 2. I took 2 deep breaths, forcing myself to calm down. Then I replayed the audio. The girl's voice wasn't entirely clear, but her tone and timbre felt strangely familiar. I immediately messaged the person who made the post. First, I told her who I was. I said I was probably the girl she was looking for, the one being cheated on from a university. I asked if she could describe what happened in more detail. She replied quickly, Girl, I was worried I wouldn't find you. That shameless cheating couple looked all decent on the outside, but they were being ridiculously bold and disgusting. Based on her description, the guy was definitely Henry. As for the girl, about 163 centimeters tall, almond-shaped eyes, a small mole at the outer corner of her right eye, kind of a cat-like style. She was still passionately standing up for me, saying that if she hadn't been so close at the time, she definitely would have taken photos for me. But those few details were already enough. A long-forgotten figure surfaced in my mind, Nora, a high school classmate of both Henry and me. But how could it be her? Just moments ago, I had considered all kinds of possibilities, maybe one of Henry's juniors or seniors, or perhaps a new friend he met in City C, but I never imagined it would be Nora. Back in high school, she never got along with either of us. I thought we would never cross paths again after graduation. And yet, of all people, it turned out to be her. Chapter 3. This wasn't the time to just sit there confused. After thanking the kind poster again and again, I quickly found her account on Xiaohongshu. Even though I hadn't seen Nora for over 2 years, we had gone to the same high school. Asking around among old classmates wasn't difficult. I opened her profile. There were quite a few surprises. Her profile picture was exactly the same as mine. Henry and I had used our matching couple avatars for a long time, but just over a month ago, he suddenly sent me a new one and asked me to switch. At the time, he said he had specially commissioned someone to design it for us. I didn't think much of it and just changed it. Now that I think about it, he probably wanted to use a matching avatar with his new girlfriend, but didn't want me to get suspicious, so he simply had me switch to the same female avatar as Nora. Then I noticed that her IP location matched Henry's. So Nora had been in City C for university too, even though Henry had occasionally mentioned her after graduation. He always acted like he didn't really know her and couldn't be bothered to talk about her. Not a single flaw. Finally, Nora had posted a new update just 15 minutes ago. looking forward to the first snow, fried chicken, and beer, and of course, my boyfriend who drops everything to be with me. Someone with the same IP commented below, "Oh ho, love is in the air. Where are you celebrating the first snow?" Nora replied with the name of a trendy restaurant where people easily spend 4 digits per person, while enjoying all the admiration and envy. She even added a smug tongue-out emoji. Chapter 4. When the truth hit me all at once. I finally understood when someone feels utterly speechless and heartbroken, they really can laugh. City B isn't far from City C by high-speed rail. It takes just over an hour. After buying my ticket, I also made a reservation at that restaurant. The next day, braving the cold winter wind, I saw it. Henry and his new girlfriend, watching the first snow together. Chapter 5. Nora pouted and acted cute, asking him to carry her bag. Henry wrapped an arm around her waist indulgently, smiling in a teasing way as he whispered something to her, and the two of them walked toward the restaurant entrance. Oh, right. The clothes they were wearing looked very familiar. They were the exact down jackets Henry had bought before. So it wasn't just the avatars. Even the couple outfits came in duplicate sets. As for me, to avoid being recognized, I deliberately wore the standard black long padded coat almost every college student owns, along with a large mask and a thick scarf. I had practically turned into a dull background NPC in their romantic world. I took a seat in the booth behind them. That boy, my childhood sweetheart, who once claimed he would love me until death, was now just on the other side of a tall seat back, holding another girl and whispering sweet nothings. The next second, my phone, set to silent, lit up with a new message. "Henry, babe, what are you doing? Did you go out to see the snow?" Even in this situation, he still found time to text me. Nora, annoyed by his distraction, pouted and reached for his phone. "Today you're only allowed to focus on me." TCH. Henry clicked his tongue, clearly irritated, but he didn't push Nora away. Even though she was practically glued to him, he just held his phone up at a distance, watching the screen as he waited for my reply, while soothing the girl in his arms. "Be good. Don't make a fuss. I already watched the first snow with you, just behave." Chapter 6. I lifted my coffee and took a sip. The rich flavor slid down my throat, but it couldn't suppress the wave of nausea. A mocking smile curled at my lips as I replied, "No, watching the first snow only matters if you're with the one you love, right?" Henry responded instantly, "It's all my fault. I really couldn't get out of the department stuff. Maybe when people feel guilty, they instinctively say and do more." He took another photo of the snowy view outside the floor-to-ceiling window and sent it to me. "This is the snowfall in City C. Don't worry, babe. I'll work really hard. Get into grad school at your university. That way, we can watch the first snow together every year." Nora pouted and lightly bit his Adam's apple, making him let out a muffled groan. Taking the opportunity, she snatched his phone and turned off the screen. "What's so fun about dating someone like Margarita? You're already in college, and all she does is study all day, then act all pretentious about watching snow and being sentimental. It's ridiculous." Henry's voice turned colder. "Shut up. What right do you have to talk about her like that? Are you mad?" Nora studied his expression, wrapping her arms around his and shaking it playfully. "You're defending her so much, I'm jealous." Henry softened, tapping the tip of her nose. "Listen to you. Aren't you the one dragging me out to watch the snow too?" "Humph. Not at all." Nora leaned close to his ear, her breath warm and teasing. "What I want to watch with you isn't the first snow, but..." The last few words were too soft to hear clearly, something about lingerie. Faint and indistinct. Henry's breathing instantly grew uneven, and he let out a low laugh. "Then why are we still sitting here watching snow?" As he spoke, he reached to pull Nora up. Nora giggled coyly, staying in the booth and refusing to move. "Then tell me, between me and Margarita, who's more fun to be with?" You. It's you, okay?" Amid Henry's surrendering pleas, Nora finally stood up, half reluctant, half willing. I paused the recording on my phone and, using the crowded streets as cover, followed them from a short distance. After walking about 2 blocks, I raised my phone and snapped a photo of them embracing as they entered a hotel together. Chapter 7. The unfamiliar streets of City C. a bone-deep cold. Knowing something is one thing, but seeing it with your own eyes is another. The pain I had been suppressing since the moment I saw them finally broke through. Sharp and relentless, surging through my chest. Henry's back made him feel completely unfamiliar to me. I could have called out to them, rushed forward, cursed him out, even slapped him twice and ended everything on the spot. Had he forgotten? Back then, Nora mocked and humiliated him without restraint, saying he was reaching above his station by being with me. It was me who stood up for him, me who fought Nora without hesitation, even risking disciplinary action. And today, I heard with my own ears how they talked about me so casually, judging me, using me as part of their little game. My defense of him had turned into the blade that stabbed myself in the back. My sincerity had become a complete joke. In the end, I took one last long look at the two of them holding hands as they stepped into the elevator. Stamping my numb, frozen feet, I turned and walked away without looking back. Someone like Henry, who plays with and betrays another person's feelings, doesn't deserve a clean, dignified ending. If I have any wish for this year's first snow, it's that Henry must taste the same pain. No, many times more. Only then would it be fair. Chapter 8. On the way back to City B. The scenery outside the window sped past. I stared at a distant point, lost in a daze. In my second year of middle school, Henry became my neighbor. The moment he moved in, he quickly became a well-known figure in our grade. There were 3 reasons for his popularity. He was very handsome. His mother had a terrible temper and often yelled at him. And his family was very poor. I remember some girls secretly describing him back then as a tragic heartthrob, good-looking, capable, but with a miserable life. It was just the two of them, him and his mother. No one had ever seen his father. Many times, I could hear his mother's sharp voice at home, scolding him. It's all because you're not good enough. If you had done better, how could your father bear to abandon us? Gradually, rumors started to spread. People said Henry's mother had been a rich man's mistress, and when the wife found out, the mother and son were kicked out, branded as the mistress's son. Henry didn't have an easy time at school. At home, he endured his mother's constant pressure and scolding, blaming him for not being good enough and for failing to win his biological father's favor. Henry chose to fight back by completely giving up on himself. One time, he got into another fight in the alley behind the school with boys who mocked his background. When I saw him, he was lying alone on the ground, his forehead bleeding, his body covered in injuries. I went and bought disinfectant and bandages for him. He lifted his eyelids to look at me. His sharp, phoenix-shaped eyes were beautiful, but cold. Don't you know I'm an illegitimate child? Why are you helping me? I applied antiseptic iodine to the wound on his forehead. You don't get to choose your parents or how you're born. His eyelashes trembled slightly. After he recovered, he told me the truth. His mother wasn't a mistress. It was his father who later got involved with a wealthy woman who could help him climb higher, and without hesitation, abandoned them. Do you believe what I'm saying? I nodded. A flicker of light appeared in his eyes, then quickly dimmed again as he let out a self-mocking laugh. A scumbag for a father. A miserable mother. Do you think I'm pathetic? If I had a choice, I'd rather never have been born. I fell silent for a few seconds, then said after thinking it through, you do have a choice. Your father is your father. And you are you. You can work hard and build a better life for yourself. I still remember the sunset that day, just like the spark of hope that reignited in the boy's eyes. Chapter 9. From that day on, I became Henry's best, and even his only, friend. His mother was immersed in the sorrow of being abandoned, and in the fantasy that the man would someday soften and come back to her. So Henry's life was truly difficult, both financially and emotionally. Even so, he would always save whatever little good food he had and bring it to me. When my parents found out, they said I was being thoughtless, and often invited Henry over to our house for proper meals. Rain or shine, Henry would always prepare an umbrella or a thick coat for me. He was more attentive than even my own parents. On the way home after evening self-study, we had to pass through a narrow alley. Without fail, he walked me all the way to my doorstep every single day. At the same time, Henry stopped giving up on himself and began to study seriously. And that was when Nora transferred to our school. She was undeniably beautiful, and she knew how to dress, while everyone else buried themselves in studies. looking plain and worn out. She stood out effortlessly. As soon as she arrived, she was voted the school beauty, but some classmates said that Margarita was actually quite pretty too, upon closer look. No less than Nora. Those kinds of comments weren't worth caring about. I just laughed them off. But Nora clearly cared. She unilaterally treated me as her sworn rival. The calmer I remained, the more irritated she became. But since my family background was decent and my grades were excellent, all her sarcastic remarks landed on nothing. I simply didn't care. So Henry became her target. Margarita. So what if your grades are good? I heard you and Henry are close friends. Birds of a feather flock together. It just shows you're no good either. Everyone knows he's an illegitimate child, abandoned by his own father. Poor family. Bad grades, haha. In an instant, I was beyond furious. I rarely even argued with people, let alone fought, but I rushed forward and kicked her behind the knee. Amid the shocked cries of classmates, we ended up wrestling each other, both injured in the end. That day, it was the first time I had ever fought a classmate, and the first time I had to read a self-criticism over the school broadcast. But if I had to do it again, I would still make the same choice. Henry held my hand, rolling a boiled egg over the bruise at the corner of my mouth. People like Nora aren't worth your attention. She's just a jumping clown. That's all. I hissed in pain. But I just can't stand hearing her talk about you like that. The boomerang from more than 3 years ago has now struck me square in the forehead. The person I fought so hard to protect has now joined hands with the very one who humiliated him back then and stabbed me deeply. So in the end, I'm the real clown. Chapter 10. I don't know when Henry and Nora got together behind my back, but his changes didn't go unnoticed. He was smart, even after slacking off for so long and falling far behind. Once he got serious, his grades improved at an astonishing pace. In order to get into the same university as me, his effort and progress even surprised the teachers. Unfortunately, before the college entrance exam, the father who had disappeared for years suddenly came back into their lives. Because of this, Henry and his mother had a fierce argument. For several nights, the entire neighborhood could hear his mother crying hysterically. I don't care about his money, and you're not his son. I will never go back with him. Not going back? I think you've lost your mind. After all these years, your father finally came looking for us. Let's see who dares call me a mistress or call you an illegitimate child again. Henry, are you trying to drive me to my death? Henry was affected during the exam and scored over 30 points lower than in his final mock test. There was no way he could get into a university like me. He insisted on applying to any random university in the same city as mine, but I stopped him. In the end, after consulting application advisors, he chose a university in City C, which is close to City B. He and his mother were also taken back by his father. I joked with him, asking how it felt to suddenly become a rich young master. He shook his head. Do you really think it's some sudden awakening of fatherly love? That woman got sick and died, leaving only a daughter behind. That's why he suddenly remembered he still has me to carry on the family line. After everything he had been through, he didn't get along with his father at all. His father even said that even at 60, he could still have more children, so Henry shouldn't assume the inheritance would definitely be his. At that, Henry let out a cold laugh. As if I care about his money. Margarita, don't worry, I'll definitely get into a university for grad school. We'll build our own future together. He had always remembered that promise, and I believed him. But in the end, he became the one who broke it. At first, he would update me on his studies every 3 days and give detailed reports every 5. He shared all the little things in his daily life with me. The clouds at the horizon, the cats near the library, even the cafeteria lady's shaking ladle. But gradually, the proportion of entertainment grew, and the frequency of sharing decreased. Thinking about it, it made sense. He was now a rich young master, with someone new in his arms. Expecting him to still act like he hadn't forgotten his original intentions was probably asking too much. Chapter 11. Early the next morning, right on schedule, Henry sent me his usual daily message. Good morning, babe. After 5 or 6 minutes with no reply from me, he sent another. Did you see the snow photo I sent yesterday? It's such a shame I couldn't watch it with you. It's all my fault. Don't be mad, okay? I zoomed in on the photo and couldn't help but sneer. He had taken it facing the restaurant's floor-to-ceiling window, afraid that Nora's reflection might appear. He used his own body to block her completely, but what he didn't realize was that, in the bottom right corner, there was a faint, blurry silhouette. That was me, wearing a black padded coat. The new lover and the old one, both present. The photo was absurdly laughable. At this hour, Henry was most likely still in the hotel with Nora, not even out of bed yet. Maybe he was holding her in his arms while texting me at the same time. Just imagining that scene made me feel sick. I didn't even feel like eating breakfast. I wanted to ignore him, but he called. I declined. He called again. I replied with a perfunctory message, busy. He responded, but I remember your schedule, you don't have class this morning. I stopped replying and focused on my own things. Chapter 12. Sensing my coldness. Henry kept sending me 2 or 3 messages throughout the day. The library cat that hadn't been mentioned for over 2 months suddenly reappeared in our chat. The cafeteria lady in dining hall 3 was still shaking her hand. 1 serving of stir-fried garlic shoots with pork ended up being all garlic shoots and no meat. That dense, hard-to-read textbook he used to complain about, he picked it up again today and even wrote a page and a half of notes. None of this moved me in the slightest. Like wearing a cotton coat in summer or fanning yourself in winter. It only felt unnecessary and forced. After being left on read all day, when Henry finally called me on video that night, his tone was aggrieved and cautious. Were you busy all day? I nodded. Yeah, about yesterday. Before he could finish, I cut him off directly. I know, you had something in your department. I get it. He choked on his words, and I fell silent as well. The silence carried an awkwardness we had never felt before. He rubbed his face, forcing a flattering smile, about to speak again. I didn't give him the chance. I'm hanging up. My roommate's about to come out of the shower. The moment I ended the call, his messages came flooding in one after another. Babe, you must still be mad at me, but I said I'd make it up to you. Just wait for a surprise on Sunday. Love you. There were still 4 days until Sunday. During those days, I remained distant. Henry could clearly sense my indifference. But he didn't give up. He kept hinting mysteriously at how much effort he was putting into the surprise. Sunday was our anniversary. He was confident that if he performed well that day, I would forgive him for breaking his promise. But a relationship that had already rotted from within, wasn't it laughable to celebrate an anniversary at all? Chapter 13. So that day, I decided to go see the long-awaited space-time physics exhibition. At 7:40 in the morning, I left right on schedule. Just as I got into a taxi, Henry, who had taken the earliest high-speed train, arrived. Babe, come downstairs. Without hesitation, I turned off my phone. Under the holographic interactive installations in the exhibition hall, I immersed myself in the vast beauty of the universe. It wasn't until 4 p.m. that I turned my phone back on. Besides Henry's 99+ messages and missed calls, my roommate had also sent me several messages. Margarita. That cheating jerk is hilarious. I told him you went to the exhibition early this morning and he didn't believe me. He's been waiting downstairs at the dorm all day. Doesn't look like he even ate lunch. He keeps fiddling with his phone, probably going crazy trying to reach you. Maybe you should just answer one of his calls. I almost froze to death just going downstairs to grab takeout. He kind of looks pitiful. She even sent a photo taken from the dorm balcony. You couldn't see his face, but his hands, full of gifts, were red from the cold. Even though I had already told my roommate that Henry was cheating, seeing him wait in the freezing cold all day still made her feel a bit sorry for him. I quickly replied, "Girl, feeling sorry for a man is a psychological disorder." My roommate was speechless. I added, "See the jacket he's wearing? He wore that exact one on the first snow day, while watching it with another girl." My roommate replied, "Damn, what a jerk. Let him freeze." When I finally appeared downstairs at the dorm, Henry's eyelashes seemed to be coated with a thin layer of frost. The first snowfall had lasted 2 days, and now it was the bitter cold that followed. It was especially freezing. When he saw me, even his jaw seemed stiff from the cold as he spoke. "Margarita, your roommate said you went to an exhibition?" "Yeah, I've wanted to see it for a long time. I just happened to be free today." Shocked by how calm I sounded, Henry's voice trembled slightly. "Do you know what day it is today? Don't tell me you forgot." I looked at him and said nothing. He took my silence as confirmation. The grievance, disappointment, and insecurity he had been bottling up for days all erupted at once. I could even see faint tears in his eyes. How could you forget such an important day? For today, I put so much effort into preparing gifts. I just wanted us to spend this anniversary happily together. I told him not to get worked up and offered a perfunctory comfort. It's just an anniversary. There are plenty of holidays throughout the year. If anything, we can celebrate it another time. Pain flooded his expression as he stepped forward and held me. Margarita, what's wrong with you lately? I know I was wrong to break the promise that day, but I've already explained it. Is it really unforgivable? Hey, I really wanted to ask him, wasn't he tired of acting? Last night, I had already seen Nora's post on Xiaohongshu, where she was furious because Henry was coming to City B to spend the anniversary with me. Because of one person, I hate an entire city. Tomorrow, I'm dragging someone back from City B no matter what. Even in her curses, she didn't forget to include my initials. My roommate said that while he was waiting downstairs, constantly fiddling with his phone like he was losing his mind trying to reach me. More likely, he was juggling both sides, trying to contact me while also stringing Nora along, soothing her with ambiguous promises. I pushed him slightly, but he rested his head on my shoulder, refusing to move, putting on the act of a heartbroken, devoted lover seeking forgiveness. Henry, don't act so much that even you start believing it yourself. Chapter 14. At that moment, Henry's phone started ringing. I felt him stiffen slightly. Answer it, I urged. He didn't move, muttering, I don't want to. I just want to stay like this with you. But the caller was persistent. When he didn't pick up, it kept ringing. I clicked my tongue. It's so annoying. Just answer it already. If you don't, I'm going to start thinking you're afraid to. The breathing against my neck faltered. Henry was nervous. Seeing he couldn't brush it off, he straightened up and took out his phone. At that moment, we were like opponents, each hiding our own agenda. Henry was afraid the caller might be Nora. He was probably even ready to reject the call and shut off his phone if it was her. And I, on the contrary, was hoping it was her, so I could watch him scramble to cover things up. Unfortunately, Nora wasn't stupid. She had someone else make the call for her. When Henry saw the name on the screen, he quietly let out a sigh of relief, even the corners of his lips lifting, to prove his innocence. He even turned on speaker. Henry, what are you doing? Why aren't you answering your phone? Kevin's been discharged from the hospital. We're all getting together tonight, only you're missing. Henry didn't hesitate at all and refused outright. Can't make it. I'm with my girlfriend. Hanging up. Wait. Don't hang up. We know you love your girlfriend. But come on, you've got eyes only for your girl and no loyalty to your brothers? That's harsh. The others chimed in, urging him not to be so whipped. Henry scoffed. I do only have eyes for my girl. Don't interrupt our time together. After hanging up, Henry looked at me expectantly, as if waiting for praise. I asked, "Who's Kevin?" Henry replied, "Someone from my soccer team. He twisted his ankle playing a while ago." So many things had changed without me even noticing. In the past, Henry would share every little detail of his life with me. Now, someone he hung out with so often, I had never even heard his name. Henry clearly realized that too and quickly tried to patch things up. I smiled and, for the first time in days, gave him a kind expression. I really was mad at you, but what I did today wasn't right either. Your friends invited you like that, you should go. He shook his head like a rattled drum. No, I want to stay with you. I kept smiling gently. I'll go with you. I want to understand your life more too. Henry was instantly overwhelmed with delight, his eyes lighting up. That's great. Margarita, you've been ignoring me these past few days. I was getting really scared. Let's go. I'll book the tickets. Didn't Nora insist on dragging Henry back? Then I'll send him back myself. Chapter 15. Henry was overjoyed that I had finally stopped giving him the cold shoulder. Along the way, he kept holding my hand, talking non-stop. When we arrived at the private room for the gathering, the moment we stepped inside, the smile on Henry's face froze. His friends were each surrounded by young, attractive girls, laughing and having a great time. Henry immediately covered my eyes with one hand, grabbed my hand with the other, and turned to leave. Henry, don't go! The people inside quickly stood up, rushing over to stop him. They signaled for the girls to leave, shooing them out in a hurry. Margarita, don't misunderstand. Henry usually keeps himself very clean. He's absolutely devoted to you. Just now was us messing around as friends. Henry pushed away the arm slung around his neck and warned them seriously. Is that something to joke about? My Margarita is timid. She can't stand that kind of mess. If she takes it seriously, I won't be able to clear my name even if I jump into the Yellow River. Immediately, everyone in the room laughed teasingly at him and apologized to me, though it was supposed to be a gathering. After introducing me to his friends, Henry focused entirely on me, peeling oranges, pouring drinks. I coughed lightly. He immediately touched my forehead, scanned the room, and told the few people smoking to put out their cigarettes. He opened the window for ventilation, then picked up the AC remote and raised the temperature a few degrees. Kevin, the one who had just been discharged, couldn't take it anymore. Henry, aren't you overdoing it? I've been lying in a hospital bed for half a month and just got out, and all you do is talk to Margarita? Henry tossed an orange at him. Obviously, I only came because Margarita told me to. You guys are just benefiting from her presence. Kevin took the lead in cheering, raising his glass. Serves you right. Henry, you've got such an amazing girlfriend. Margarita, this toast is for you. I smiled, picked up my glass, and drank with them. After sitting for a while, I told Henry the first was a bit tired and wanted to go back to the hotel to rest. Henry immediately grabbed his coat, ready to leave with me. I stopped him. Don't ruin everyone's fun. Stay and hang out with them a bit longer. He kept fussing over me. Was that cough earlier a cold? Are you feeling unwell? Forget it, I should go back with you. I laughed and gently pushed him back toward the room. Don't exaggerate. If you keep acting like this, what will your friends think of me? Only then did Henry reluctantly stay behind. I didn't leave. Instead, I went to the restroom, then found a hidden corner sofa nearby and sat down to wait. The show was about to begin. Chapter 16. The girls who had been driven out earlier filed back in one after another. Very quickly, Nora arrived, with delicate, alluring makeup, stepping in on thin-heeled boots, chin slightly raised. She pushed open the private room door. A hand wearing a panda bracelet pulled her into an embrace and dragged her inside. It was Henry. The room instantly erupted into loud cheers and teasing laughter. I was about to suffocate earlier, Henry. I gave you my best acting performance. Get lost. I already messaged you guys in the car, told you to behave. It's already generous of me not to chew you out. If you're going to blame someone, blame Nora. She told us to do it. You dare yell at her? Nora let out a huff. He wouldn't dare. I said he wouldn't get to celebrate his anniversary. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Ha ha ha. All hail Nora. Kiss. Kiss. A series of ambiguous sounds followed. Disgusting. Truly disgusting. I steadied myself, then picked up my phone and texted Henry. After thinking about it, it feels wrong to leave early when it's rare for you to gather with your friends. I ordered some hangover soup for you guys. It should arrive soon. Suddenly, Nora's cry of pain rang out from inside the room. Through the slightly open door, I saw Henry jump to his feet while holding his phone. Nora, who had been leaning against him, nearly lost her balance and fell. The farce officially began. Go. Now, Margarita is coming. Henry, I'm not leaving. If you push me out that door today, we're over. Henry acted as if he hadn't heard her. He stuffed her coat and bag into her arms and dragged her toward the exit. His friends rushed forward to intervene. Henry, don't be impulsive. That top student girlfriend of yours looks like a pain to deal with. Why not take this chance to just break up with her and officially be with Nora? Henry kicked the table, making a loud bang. Whoever says that kind of crap again, don't blame me for losing it. Then he pointed at the girls around them. Get them out too, now. Shouting, crying, arguing, everything descended into chaos. Then, Nora ran out of the room with red, tearful eyes. While those friends reluctantly drove the girls out a second time, they hurried the staff to clean up the table, while Henry rapidly typed on his phone. Margarita, Are you almost here? I'll come downstairs to pick you up. I replied lightly. Forget it, I won't come. You guys have fun. Henry froze, stunned and disappointed. The others, already annoyed, couldn't help but curse. What the hell? Are we being played like monkeys? Nora organized this whole thing for you, and you still drove her away. I'll call her back, Henry. Just go comfort her. At the same time, I called Henry. He immediately cut off the other person's call and answered mine. Babe, what's wrong? It's not that I don't want to come. I just feel like your friends don't really like me. How could that be? But if you feel uncomfortable around them, we can just go on a date by ourselves. Leaving behind a room full of dissatisfied friends, Henry hurried out. Chapter 17. Watching Henry run toward me, breathing heavily yet smiling brightly. For a moment, it felt like we had returned to the past. We ate roasted sweet potatoes while strolling through the streets of City C. We played claw machines, and he won me many Doraemon dolls I loved. We even went to a midnight movie. He deliberately turned off his phone and held a cup of milk tea to my lips, saying no one was allowed to disturb us. When midnight struck and the movie ended, Henry held me tightly. Margarita, I feel so happy. Thank you for staying by my side. Every anniversary from now on, I'll make you even happier. I smiled. The past 24 hours had been so dramatic, full of twists and turns. It was undoubtedly the most unforgettable anniversary Henry had ever had. But Henry, there won't be any more. This is our last anniversary. Chapter 18. Probably thinking he had successfully coaxed me, Henry was visibly in a great mood. But someone else definitely wasn't. That night was nothing short of a humiliation for Nora. She deleted that post. With her personality, there was no way she would let it go. So I waited quietly. On the third day after I returned to City B, she added me on WeChat, using the exact same profile picture as mine. Top student. Are you enjoying the couple avatar I picked? But what a pity, my boyfriend is going to change it soon to cheer me up. Since you like this one so much, you can keep using it. Hee hee. Clown. Right after that, she changed her avatar first. It was clearly part of a couple set. 1 minute later, Henry, who had just been chatting sweetly with me over the phone at noon, followed suit and switched to the matching male version. Then my phone buzzed. Henry sent me a screenshot of Nora's new avatar. Babe, let's change our couple avatar. Isn't this one cute? The same trick. Henry used it again. It made me sick. That was exactly how I felt, and exactly how I replied. I said, disgusting. Henry? Margarita. What's wrong? I mean, it's so childish it's disgusting. The chat box showed typing. For a long time, he was clearly caught off guard by my sudden disgust. Yeah, it's not that great. That's my fault. Then you pick one. Margarita. I'll like whatever you choose. I replied, no time. This new one suits you pretty well. Just keep it. After that, I changed my avatar to an image of the double slit experiment. Perhaps Henry's so-called affection also had wave particle duality. Once you observe it closely, it collapses into something unbearably ugly. Chapter 19. Seeing that I had even abandoned our previous couple avatar, Henry panicked. He quickly switched back. Margarita, if you don't like the new one, let's just use the old one again. I ignored him. After bringing it up several times with no response, he started whining over the phone. Babe, just change it back, okay? I snapped my textbook shut. Are you serious? Do you not have anything better to do than obsess over this stupid avatar? Henry paused, clearly hurt by the coldness in my voice. He swallowed, and when he spoke again, his tone carried a trace of grievance. I just think we're a couple. Using couple avatars makes us feel closer. Every time I see your current physics experiment avatar, I feel empty inside. Hearing that, I looked straight into his eyes through the screen. So when you look at a matching couple avatar with another girl, you feel like you're a couple with her too? Like it's intimate? Henry avoided my gaze. Guilt finally made him drop the topic. My last exam is next Monday. When do you finish? Let's go back together. I shook my head. My parents are on annual leave. We're going to City A for a trip. We won't be back until before the new year. City A? Why didn't you tell me? Henry blinked, then grinned playfully. flexing his arm. I've got nothing to do during the break anyway. I can apply to be your family's luggage carrier. At that moment, my roommate pushed the door open. Seeing him on the screen, she rolled her eyes discreetly and made up an excuse, urging me to hang up quickly. I went along with it, waving at Henry. Not convenient. You should go. Hanging up. Chapter 20. On the day the holiday began, he headed north, and I headed south, boarding flights in completely opposite directions. My parents and I spent our days in short sleeves, enjoying the sunshine, the beach, and a rare, relaxing vacation. The heaviness in my heart gradually eased. Sitting under a sunshade, sipping coconut juice, I calmly told my parents about Henry cheating. My mom gently stroked my hair, both heartbroken for me and frustrated, scolding him. I used to think that boy was quite good, hardworking, motivated, and kind to our Margarita, but I guess you really can't ignore genetics. He's just like his father, not a decent person. My dad cleared his throat. Life is like a battlefield. When you're charging forward, you can't leave your back exposed to someone like that. It's a good thing you found out early and ended it in time. From that day on, whenever Henry called, my parents were noticeably colder toward him. Henry grew uneasy. Is it just me, or do your parents seem to have something against me? I told him he was overthinking it. After a moment, he nodded. You're right. Your parents have always treated me so well. They like me a lot. His mood quickly lifted again. Only a few more days until New Year. You'll be back soon, right? Look at how many things I've prepared. Cured ham, fine liquor, pastries, health supplements, everything carefully chosen according to my parents and my preferences. Chapter 21. 4 or 5 years ago, that spring festival was especially difficult for Henry. His mother forced him to go find his father, hoping that during the holiday, some faint sense of conscience or family affection might be rekindled. Henry refused. Of course, his mother cried and shouted, smashing things around the house. Amid the festive atmosphere of families celebrating the new year, their home felt especially bleak. Surrounded by onlookers watching the commotion, Henry felt like the ground beneath his feet was burning. He couldn't stand it any longer. He pushed through the crowd and ran out. My parents sighed, shaking their heads. The sins of adults always end up hurting the children. My mom told me to go find him during the new year. Nothing must happen. When I found him, I bought a steaming hot roasted sweet potato, soft and oozing with sweetness, and we split it between us. On the way, I didn't mention anything about his family. Instead, I asked, do you like pork ribs? Yeah. When you eat greens, do you prefer the leaves or the stems? The stems. I like the leaves. Perfect. My mom's making vegetable and pork rib soup tonight. I'll eat the leaves. You eat the stems. Nothing goes to waste. Okay. From that year on, every spring festival, Henry would come early to my house to wish us a happy new year, sharing a lively meal together. Later, even after he was taken back to his father's side, that habit never changed. Chapter 22. The next day, we ended our vacation and flew home at noon. I posted a moment visible only to Nora. It was simple, a photo at the airport, with just 2 words, back home. I believed she would understand what I meant. That evening, Henry called and only then realized I had returned. He sounded happy, but a little reproachful. Why didn't you tell me you were coming back? I could have picked you up at the airport. Half an hour later, he drove to my place. The trunk of his car was packed full of New Year goods, carrying bags upon bags. He appeared at my door, grinning from ear to ear as he greeted my parents. Uncle, Auntie, let me wish you an early Happy New Year. But my parents didn't welcome him in as warmly as before. Instead, they politely but distantly refused. Henry, these are too expensive. We can't accept them. His hands froze awkwardly in midair, the smile on his face stiffening into shock. He shot me a look, silently mouthing, "What's going on?" I shook my head, about to speak, when his phone rang. As if determined to reach him, the caller quickly hung up, followed by a series of WeChat notifications, and then the phone rang again. "You should answer it," I urged. It must be something urgent. The room was filled with the sound of his phone. Henry set the bags down. "Sorry, I need to take this." He glanced at the caller ID and immediately rejected the call. After quickly scanning the messages, he visibly grew tense, even beads of sweat forming on his nose. Uncle, Auntie, I'm really sorry. Something urgent came up at home. I'll come back tomorrow to properly wish you a happy new year. Then he gestured to me, indicating he'd call me later, and hurriedly turned to leave. I picked up the things he brought and followed him outside. Henry! I stopped him and pushed the items back into his hands. Take these back. My parents won't accept them. He looked hurt and confused. I knew something was off with your parents. What exactly happened? He tried to hand the items back again, but the phone started ringing insistently once more. I remained firm. Henry, don't make this harder for me. Isn't it urgent? Go. Henry looked at me helplessly. Margarita, whatever it is, we can solve it. I'll come find you after I deal with things over there. Chapter 23. That night, Henry didn't come back. The only thing that came was a provocative message from Nora. Stop waiting. He's with me right now. She sent a photo of Henry's side profile. He's already bored of your childhood sweetheart storyline. The love-hate drama between me and him is way more interesting. For the first time, I replied to her expressionlessly. He's just trash. If you like him, take him. As expected. Nora immediately lost her temper. Margarita, don't act like you're so special. Do you really think you're irreplaceable? Just wait and see. The next day, she didn't disappoint. She started live updating me on their date. First photo. The two of them sharing a roasted sweet potato. Both making peace signs. What era are we in? Still eating this? Ridiculous. Bad review. Second photo. Henry had won her a bunch of plush toys, arranged into a heart shape. Not jelly cat. Bad review. Third photo. Milk tea and movie tickets. We've already watched plenty of movies together. So this plan, still a bad review. She recreated the entire anniversary Henry and I had shared before, then smugly gave it 3 bad reviews. Adults should take responsibility for their own choices, so I accepted these 3 bad reviews for my own poor judgment in people. I smiled faintly. The new year is about letting go of the old and welcoming the new. Today, this would finally end. I waited at the exit of the cinema. Henry and Nora came out with the dispersing crowd. Nora playfully wrapped Henry's scarf around both of their necks, tying them together. Henry tilted his head away, expression indifferent, and lifted his arm to take the scarf off. Nora pouted in dissatisfaction, stamping her foot and refusing to move forward. Henry said something to her, I couldn't hear what, and only then did she smile again and hook her arm around his. I walked over, raised my hand and waved. Hi, Henry. Henry's body stiffened instantly, all the color draining from his face, as if he had seen something terrifying. Nora, however, wasn't flustered at all. After all, she had deliberately shared their location in every message just so I would see this. Her eyes and brows were full of smug satisfaction as she leaned tightly against Henry. Margarita, top student, long time no see. Only after several seconds did Henry snap back to reality. He shoved Nora away. Margarita. I waved my hand, gesturing toward a nearby cafe. Don't stand here blocking the way. It's embarrassing. My gaze toward them was cold and full of disgust. That single, light remark seemed to crush Henry. His back bent slightly, his teeth grinding audibly as he shoved Nora away again when she tried to cling to him. Get lost! Nora snapped as well, unwilling to be pushed away a second time. Her lips trembled downward, her eyes filling with tears. But her expression didn't soften Henry at all. Instead, he glared at her, jaw clenched. Before he could speak, I lowered my face and raised my voice, enunciating each word. I said, go to the cafe and talk. All 3 of us. Don't make me say it a 3rd time. Chapter 24. Under my insistence. Our strange trio walked into the cafe. Nora lifted her chin, putting on a show of confidence as she rushed to sit down first. I took the seat opposite her, just as Henry tried to sit beside me. I placed my bag on the chair and tilted my chin slightly. You sit opposite too. Henry's chest heaved as he panted, clenching his fists and slamming one onto the table. His eyes were red. Margarita, what exactly are you trying to do? I ignored him, calmly called over the waiter, and ordered 3 cups of coffee. When the waiter left, Henry had already calmed down, looking at me with almost pleading eyes. Margarita, it's not what you think. I raised a finger to my lips, signaling him to be quiet, then looked at Nora with a smile. It hasn't been that long since we last met. I've actually seen you twice recently. On the first snow day, your matching outfits looked great, and at the bar gathering, you were all dressed up, but ended up making a wasted trip. Sorry about that. This time, even Nora froze. Henry stared at me in disbelief, his whole body trembling, his expression completely shattered. All his excuses, all his wishful thinking, crumbled in that instant. He wanted to shout, to explain himself, why he had left in such a hurry yesterday, why he was doing all this with Nora today, because she had threatened him, saying she'd cause trouble at Margarita's home if he didn't comply. He hadn't wanted this. He didn't mean it. But in the end, all those words could only come out as one sentence. You actually saw everything. I deserve this. I really deserve to die for this. He braced his elbows on the table, clutching his hair in pain, his voice breaking. When he looked up again, his eyes were bloodshot, tears falling. He had gone through so much hardship before, yet I had never seen him shed a single tear. This was the first time I had ever seen Henry cry. Nora glared at me. Since you already know, Henry and I. Henry growled at her to shut up, then urgently turned to me. Margarita, believe me or not, I don't even like her. I was just messing around. My future plans only have you in them. I never once thought about breaking up with you. Please give me one more chance. I swear I'll cut her off completely. Nora's face turned pale. Henry, what the hell are you saying? You bastard. If this had been before, seeing Henry cry, I couldn't even imagine how heartbroken I would have been. But now, he was crying, begging me to forgive his betrayal, and I felt nothing. In fact, there was even a sense of cold satisfaction. Henry, do you have any self-respect at all? Henry froze, staring at me blankly, as if unable to process that such sharp words had come from me. Nora humiliated you back then, made you lose face in front of the whole class so many times, and now you're all lovey-dovey with her. That's just pathetic. I regret ever fighting for you. At that, Henry completely broke down. I stood up. Henry, we're done. Don't ever show up in front of me again. And you, Nora, he's all yours. No need to thank me. Chapter 25. After everything was laid bare, I blocked them on all platforms. Henry used an unknown number to send me one last message. Margarita, no matter what, your parents have treated me so well. Please let me come wish them a happy new year. I let out a cold laugh. I've already told them about you and Nora. I don't think they want to see you. They probably regret every meal they ever made for you, just like I do. Chapter 26. Winter break was short. The second semester of my junior year began, and my studies became even busier. But Henry and Nora still managed to cause trouble for me from time to time. Henry came to City B almost 3 or 4 times a week, pestering me endlessly. Nora even followed him a few times. The two of them ended up arguing right downstairs from my dorm. My roommate, are these two out of their minds? Henry finally realized that continuing like this would only make me hate him more. So he stopped coming, but Nora kept going, switching between different accounts to harass me. Margarita, you bitch. You think you're so great? Your boyfriend still cheated on you. Ha ha ha. Let me tell you, I know where your cafeteria is, where your dorm is, and every route you take to the library. You'd better watch yourself. Who knows? One day you might not live to see tomorrow. I didn't hesitate. I took screenshots and reported her to the police for harassment and threats. Her mother came to me, begging me to let her daughter off. I refused. Auntie, instead of trying to persuade me, you should teach your daughter to follow the law and have some self-respect. I heard she was taken away by the police right in the middle of a large lecture in a tiered classroom, in front of her entire department. She became instantly famous, the talk of the campus. Chapter 27. After Nora was released from the police station, she went to find Henry, eyes red and pitiful. Henry, you're just going to let Margarita bully me like this? Henry actually laughed. She's right, isn't she? You knew I had a girlfriend and still came on to me. You said you were wrong before and wanted me to forgive you. When it comes down to it, you just saw that I've got money now, didn't you? You even said you didn't need me to take responsibility, that I could treat you however I wanted. Where's your self-respect in that? Nora grabbed his collar, crying, Henry, you bastard. They ended up fighting, completely falling out. Chapter 28. After dealing with Nora, Henry seemed to think he had a chance again. He even declared he would start pursuing me from scratch. To me, it sounded no different from a dog barking. Fortunately, he soon had bigger problems. Nora turned out to be pregnant. Henry had only one response: get rid of it. Cold and heartless, just like his father. Nora's mother cried and cursed as she took Nora back home, forcing her to suspend her studies. Henry, meanwhile, was dragged into the mess by her family and had to suspend his studies as well. Before leaving for home, Henry came to see me. This time, I went downstairs. In just 1 month, he looked completely worn out. Seeing that I was willing to meet him, a faint light flickered in his dull eyes. He looked at me cautiously. That day, you left too quickly. There were so many things I didn't get to say. I really don't like Nora, but someone who once looked down on me suddenly humbled herself, tried to please me, and tempted me. I lost my head. I've cut off all those friends too. I thought I'd just indulge myself this once, and after I got into grad school in City B, I'd make a clean break from all of them. I listened quietly without saying a word. He continued, Margarita, I've decided to drop out and retake the exams. Can you wait for me for a year? I'll definitely get into a university. I shook my head. If you're doing this for me, then there's no need. My master's application to Heidelberg has already been accepted. Even if he made it into a university, I would already be studying abroad. Realizing there was no chance of reconciliation, Henry raised his hand to cover his eyes, took a deep breath, his voice trembling. We promised we'd always be together. I can't accept this. I shook my head again. School makes people think they're walking the same path. But Henry, we were never on the same road. We just happened to be waiting at the same red light. Now that the light has changed, it's time for everyone to go their own way. Henry, goodbye.